Rolling Stone put out a new article a couple weeks ago called Physical Media is Cool Again. Streaming services have themselves to blame by writer C.T. Jones. Covers a lot of film and television industry news. Really good writer. I recommend their stuff. What they do discuss in the article is kind of a return to physical media collection, especially with Blu-rays and DVDs of movies and television shows. In our article, Jones does feature some interviews with younger collectors of physical media, which is awesome to see. And they're actually getting into it out of pure frustration with streaming platforms. She did interview Maddie Graves, whose physical media collection started with a frustration with streaming. She says, quote, "I got tired of paying for new streaming services. I can't justify having more than 2 or 3. Why do I have to pay for Paramount Plus to watch Twin Peaks?" Maddie, I absolutely sympathize and agree with you. Twin Peaks is a basic human right, and you should be able to watch it on demand when you want, ad-free. Actually, I take that back. If you watch Twin Peaks, there will be one ad.
Dig yourself out of the shit. $29.99. That's right. Only $29.99 plus shipping.
This particular article actually reminded me of an article I read by writer Will Tavlin, and it's called Casual Viewing, Why Netflix Looks Like That. It's a very extensive article, and it covers the beginning of Netflix all the way to where they're at now. Tavlin actually details how, in the early days, Netflix completely flipped the film and television industry on its head. But it also learned how people watch and consume media in the modern age. We've all been on our phone watching a movie or TV show, and you look up and you miss 15 minutes of the plot. Netflix unfortunately knows this about us. So what they do, and it's been revealed now, that they actually create content that is meant to be passively enjoyed. Tavlin actually details how Netflix is aware of our passive viewership of film and television. So when Netflix produces its original content, it's actually done so in a way that's meant to be kind of passively consumed. They're well aware you're probably on your phone, so they create shows that explain what they're doing as they move along. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I love putting on a sitcom every now and then, turning my brain off, and just doom scrolling on my phone. We're all guilty of it, and I'm no exception. However, when I want to sit down and watch a film that I'm very excited for, I want to be kind of engulfed by it, and I don't want everything explained to me. I want to kind of get immersed in the film and figure out things for myself as I go. One thing I really love about this platform and other creators on other platforms is the love for film analysis. So that's things like film theory, psychoanalysis, semiotics, and really just overthinking it for the fun of it. Really tinfoil strapped to your head, brain baking conversations about films.
Maybe your movie freaked mind lost its reality button. You ever think of that? You're absolutely right. I'm the first to admit it.
That's what I love doing with my friends, and I love doing that with my wife, and it's a great time to just hang out and just talk about your favorite theories of movies. One good thing I really do appreciate about people getting into collecting physical media is the labels that actually restore and print and put out films in a physical format, Blu-ray, DVD, are actually hyper aware that people love film theory, and they love talking about films. They love the special features. They love a blooper reel. They love having essays provided to them that they can read and really, really break down a film's context. So what I'm actually going to do is talk about a couple of my favorite labels and talk about what they do well, why I really like purchasing from them, and why I think they're really, really important to preserving film theory in general. For the sake of time, though, and full disclosure, I am going to exclude Criterion from this conversation.
Are you kidding me?
Are you kidding me? Yes.
I know. It's the gold standard. I know that. Bear with me. There's a lot of really cool companies that are doing some awesome things, and I want to show you how awesome these other labels are. Starting on kind of the smaller packaging size, but still really, really great finds and awesome films that I have not been able to find anywhere else. We have Kino. What's really cool about Kino is they put out a lot of cult classics, but also incredibly hard to find international art house films. So it's really awesome to be in a store and see one of your cult favorites from the 90s right next to an international film that you had no idea existed. Criterion might not have even haven't put it out yet. Next up, we have Vinegar Syndrome. And yes, I did get the keep. Vinegar Syndrome is really awesome because they put out a lot of cult films, especially really, really older ones from like the 70s and 80s and 90s, and we're talking obscure cult films. Every time I see a Vinegar Syndrome title, it's honestly something I've never heard of before. I had heard of The Keep. That was a big one in film collector circles that we were all kind of waiting for be repressed, and we were not sure who was going to get the deals to it. So it was a lot of fun when they got it. I think I snagged on it that day. when I got their email. What's really fun is how much detail they put into their packaging. They do this kind of mid-size packaging. As you can see, it's about that big, has an outer cover into the actual cover for the film, complete with artwork. They do include a booklet on the inside, right here. Very cool. I think it folds out in the center. It just says the title. And it's got pictures, and it's also got an entire essay in it. So again, kind of the whole point of this video is what's really fun about collecting physical media is if you go buy a movie, you get books. Next up is one of the go-tos for film collectors, and that's going to be Arrow Video. This right here is Cruising with Al Pacino, directed by William Friedkin.
A New York City detective in search of a killer is about to disappear into the night.
So again, this is kind of a mid-sized box. Arrow is pretty good about this particular size coming out. They usually do just a slipcover and a standard Blu-ray case. However, they've been doing these larger ones recently. So you see if I just took up the slipcover right there. What's really cool about Arrow, and this is actually one of my favorite things that they do. So if you open it up, I believe that is the original poster for the film. If you flip it, and you pull out from this side, that then becomes the custom artwork that they had commissioned for the movie. And once again, inside the main box, you do get a rather thick booklet. So this contains a lot of screen caps from the film, as well as an essay, multiple essays actually. This particular one is called Making Sense of Cruising by Jason Bailey. It's originally published in the Village Voice, March 21st, 2018. So once again, what's really awesome is they're taking film theory, essays, and articles printed in prints that many of us didn't know about at the time, and then putting them with their physical releases. So again, you get so much written literature about these films that you enjoy. So if you want kind of a different take on something you saw, if you want socio-political context about when and why the film was made, these booklets are your ticket to all of that. Next up is going to be Severin Films. And I actually have with me the House of Psychotic Women Volume 1 collection. Now this entire collection, there's also a Volume 2, is based off a film theory book published in 2012 by Kayla Janace. So this is actually a complete box set. There are 4 films within. So if you take off the top, we have a gorgeous interior print, and there you have the standard Blu-ray sizes. What's really fun about this is not only was this box set a direct product based off of one of the most seminal pieces of film theory probably ever written. It's an awesome book, by the way. It's something that you can pick up off the shelf and read on the back that it's directly inspired from. So it actually takes you from, if you like and view these films, you can then go and read about their context in an important piece of work. Now, the next one is probably my personal favorite as of right now. Actually, it has been for the past couple years. It's an Australian company called Umbrella. So this is actually the first box set I purchased from them. And please don't judge me. This is the New Extremity Collection, Volume 1. So what this is a collection of French horror, exploitation, and sometimes kind of action films that are insanely graphic, unbelievably violent, and extremely grim and nihilistic. These were made in the early 2000s, actually going back to the late 90s all the way through the early 2000s, at the same time as the US was making pictures like Saw. They had their own kind of very, very messed up response to that. It's a lot of fun to watch if you have the stomach and the mental health for it, which I often don't. So if you're ever having a rough week, I would probably skip this one. But it does include films like Martyrs, Frontiers, Anatomy of Hell, and High Tension. And again, it also comes with a book. What's cool is actually Umbrella really loves posters. So it's a lot of fun that you actually get things like individual press cards. There's ones for Martyrs. Oh, if you haven't seen this one, please do. And then maybe consider stopping by a church and just begging for forgiveness.
Les gens n'envisagent plus de souffrir, mademoiselle. Le monde est ainsi fait qu'il n'y a plus que des victimes. Les martyrs sont très rares.
What's awesome about Umbrella is within their box sets, as opposed to the other ones, which had a little bit smaller print, kind of zine style readings and booklets and literature, This is an entire hardbound book. So again, it goes right into the film essays, talking about all the individual movies. Wonderful bordering on each page all the way through, talking about the social context of these films, what the violence is actually saying in the movies, and why this was kind of an industry standard at the time for horror films made in France. As a fun little bonus for this video, I recently picked up an Australian exploitation movie. It was kind of considered their great lost cult film for a while, and I've heard it's insanely bizarre, very hectic, and very violent. It is called Wake in Fright. Now again, I have not seen this yet. I'm very excited to see it. I read a lot of great things about it and kind of bought it on a whim because I like the packaging. The only recommendation I did have for this movie was actually not given to me directly, but it was my cousin's Letterboxd review. Looks pretty fun. What I am going to do though is an unboxing. It's right there. First time being opened. What's really awesome about this, they have this kind of orange tint on the entire thing. Not really into that. If you are, God love you. So yeah, there is an entire orange slipcover on the front. So we're just going to go ahead and, oh wow, now that's something. So there we have the interior box with the titles present. They kind of give you the summary on the back, which I kind of like. It's very brief and to the point, but it does tell you everything you get in it, as well as the technical specs as well, which I always really appreciate. All right, we're gonna see what is inside here. So the first thing I actually came to were these individual press cards, still photos with the film title and the umbrella logo on the bottom. Very cool. Already very bizarre looking. I can't even begin to pronounce that word. Australians, help me out with that. Wonderful photo on the outback. Australian movies is something I haven't really dug into just yet, but they have such a rich film history, and I've heard they're just kind of all over the place. So I'm really excited. This is kind of my first one into getting into what I think I read was called Ozploitation. So I'm really excited to get into that. Right here, we have the entire novel Wake in Fright by Kenneth Cook, hardback. So this is what I kind of mean, where you buy a movie on a whim and you get the entire context for that movie provided to you in other media formats. The entire novel right there. I've actually genuinely never seen this before, where you buy the book and the movie at the same time. Love the color palette on this, just very sandy all the way. Oh my gosh. This is the entire screenplay in hardback form. Man, I have never seen this before. Pretty sweet. Actually gives you homework to do before you watch the movie or after. So you watch the movie, you read either the screenplay or the book, then you break down what it all means to you. Something that Umbrella does that I think is really cool is they actually talk about how the film was marketed and released, as well as distributed during its initial run. So it'll actually talk about in here how they put out the initial posters of the film. You see a lot of different versions of it, art stills. These would end up in things like magazines and newspapers and more print media at the time. So you kind of get a rich history of that era as well. And last but not least, you get the Blu-ray with an awesome slipcover. This is the 4K Ultra HD version. And what's really cool with that, that's insane looking, you get the original artwork. So yeah, that's the current little pieces of my collection that we really enjoy. I can definitely go ahead and post more as I work along to collect it. I'm also going to be working on a couple projects going forward about how to back this all up to a self-hosted server if you are interested in actually turning your physical media into digital copies that you can enjoy anywhere, anytime you want, remotely. So if you guys like this video, please like, share, and subscribe. Also, please comment in my videos. I love getting in touch with other collectors, other movie nerds, and just kind of talking about all this stuff in general. So let me know.